Hey, first I want to say I never could have expected so many artists and creatives and really anybody to resonate with my thoughts. I look back at the video I made a little while ago and I couldn't have been more surprised at the reception I received. I really appreciate everyone sharing their thoughts and their perspectives and uh, sharing their journeys in ways I couldn't even have perceived on my own, just my own personal worldview. So thank you for being so willing to just come out and share in the comments of your personal experience. I really appreciate that. Um, I when I was thinking about that video after I posted, I was like, I think about this all the time. I'm like, no one cares about my thoughts. No one really cares about anything. you know. Uh, so to kind of come out of my shell, trying something new, and for it to have been met with such feedback was really motivating and very reaffirming of my personal beliefs. And I just wanted to express my gratitude and appreciation for everyone who, even if you didn't, like or comment or really anything, like just thank you for giving me your time. That was really cool, and I would like to share more of my thoughts, just to put it out there. Now that I know that, you know, I intrinsically have my own perspective that can be considered, because I really want to see people grow, and like I think that there's just so much opportunity and potential for so many people out there, and I just want anyone that may be doubting themselves to really understand that you can achieve anything you set your mind to, like actually. And you know we can at least share in the process of how hard it is. um Also, I learned that I say like and a lot when I'm rambling, so I'll try my best to get better at my communication. Talking into a mic, this is definitely new for me. um I guess now I'm saying a lot, so I gotta watch out for that too. So you will never be good enough. You will never be perfect. You'll never be anything that you believe that you should be. Um, because I know for me personally, like perfectionism is something I personally struggle with a lot, and I've had to work basically my entire life to overcome. And I realized that this is going to be something I have to deal with for the rest of my life. And before art wasn't even in the picture for me, I started a little bit older, so like I didn't even know this was a hang up I've had for a long time. But through my upbringing and my youth as a young adult, I was part of special forces. There were times where I was underwater for a long period of time. I'm talking like months at a time, right? And everything I did had to be done at a certain level almost every time. And if I didn't, people died, or things could escalate very quickly for a lot of people. And then after that job, I went into microchip um, building basically. Like I worked on calibrations for machines, and again, like we're talking like 10 decimals of spacing, to make sure that the wafers and everything can be constructed correctly. And going into my future endeavors in these engineering careers is like there's a high degree of perceived perfection you have to achieve every single time, or billions of dollars are lost every second. So I kind of was just raised through my career in my life to perform at a high level. And, you know, I wouldn't say I hated it. I wouldn't say I liked it either. It was just something I was used to doing. Like, I just had to have a lot of attention to detail as much as I could. And when I didn't, I immediately saw the consequences and I had to, redo what I did. Um, all this being said is if I had to, take stock of all the different activities I've done in my life and like how difficult they were, art is by far the most difficult experience I've ever had to embark on. Like at first, it was easy. It was easy to draw something like a mug. I remember drawing like on like pencil and paper. Like I just grabbed a little book before I went on a mission, and I started sketching when I could. Like probably like 2 days out of like the entire 2 weeks I was gone. And I was like I didn't expect to be good but I was beyond bad. I didn't understand how to hold a pencil. The paper didn't feel right. I couldn't like get the silhouette right. I couldn't even understand like what I was looking at and how to put it on paper. Like I was god awful at drawing. I was not some kind of protege by any means. And but it was easy because I could just say that, hey, I'm new. Like there's no way I'm gonna be good at art in the first try. And I hid behind that for a long time. I was like, hey, I'm just gonna practice here and there and like, take my time, maybe take a couple weeks off and like, it's just like a little hobby. And I never had to be perfect. Like it was never something that came up. I just enjoyed the process, and that feels like for a lot of us, especially reading what I saw, it was like, when we're younger or we first embark on the art journey, it's like it's fun. Like you can just draw silly things, you can draw whatever comes to mind. Like you can look at other art, you can draw OC interactions or whatever. You can draw in your fandoms, and like it's fun, it's easy, it's cool. You know, and then you get to a year or two in, you start realizing like, okay, like it's fun to draw. It's fun to like, like have a good time and like really express myself with my friends or whatever. But like, I kind of want to get a little bit better because I've been drawing for a little while. So I feel like I don't want to be a beginner forever. So you start like, trying to look at, I just said that, again, you start looking at anatomy, you start looking at composition, you just start kind of going a bit deeper, maybe add a little bit of color, no hard rendering, no like crazy line art yet or anything like that, but you acknowledge that like there is a bit of a skill gap that you would like to overcome at some point to make art that is a bit more impressive, just for yourself mostly, people around you, I guess. And then you do that for 2 or 3 years, and now you're a 4 or 5 year artist, so you can't necessarily you're a beginner anymore, and you still don't draw well, and it's confusing. It's how how can I have put in this much time and not be able to draw a higher level? You start looking at different game studios, you start looking at like ArtStation and portfolios, and you realize that the people who are submitting their pieces and their portfolios they're so much better than you, and it's disheartening. And then you try to like pull up their image one for one, you try to draw digitally, you try to do draw on your sketch pad, you try just to imitate what they did, and even copying one for one is too hard. Like there are fundamental gaps in your understanding that this person has that you don't, not yet. And that experience of just like banging your head against the same issue over and over again, just continually seeing good artists on social media, continue not being able to put the image on paper, and just failing nonstop, it drives you crazy. I know it drove me crazy, to a point where it's like, well, what's the point of this? If I can never get perfect, then what is the point? You know? And I think that's when the perfectionism curse starts setting in hard. It's at that like 5, 6 year mark where it's like, what's the point of any of this? Like, why do I waste my time drawing for hours on end to get an image that looks terrible? And then you just, it makes or breaks a lot of people. And oftentimes it will break you because what does it mean to make it as an artist? Do you get every gig you go for and you make $2,000 per commission, so that take you 2 months to make? Is it having 15 people who want to commission you every month and you can make like a solid like 40K living a year off of that? Like what is it to be a good artist? Are you making Renaissance paintings? Are you drawing anime women all day? Like what does it mean to be perfect art? Like when do you make it? you know I think that there is no making it. There is no good enough. There is no perfection. There's no you've reached the epitome of your artistic expression. Like it doesn't end. It never ends. And I think that if not checked, if you don't acknowledge that, you will the frustration you will eventually reach will basically stop you from ever making art ever again. And I know for me that was probably about a year ago where I realized that, you know, I can draw all day, every day. I can style study every day. I can use new techniques. I can render more. I can color more. I can use, more saturation. I can go for crazier compositions, crazier angles, crazier anatomy. But like, I'm never gonna be good enough. Like I still like even now, like I have a hard time looking past a week of the things I've drawn because it looks awful. There's sketchbooks I will never open again. That I just don't think are good. Like I don't like scrolling too far down my posts. I'm looking at old streams. Like I think that I draw awful art, you know? Um, and it was like probably like that for a very long time. And it's just so hard for me to realize that like I'm growing, you know, that we're all growing. It's hard to acknowledge that someone is just more technically skilled than you. It's especially when they're younger or even when they're older. Like it's just seeing people who are better than you, especially when you scroll on your social media and your niche or niches, your niches like pop up. It's like it's just so hard to feel like you're good enough. I know for me, I wanted to. I mentioned before, like I read a comic one time, and also like I played League of Legends and all that, and like I was like, oh, if I can make this splash art one day, that'd be awesome. If I can make a comic one, like whether it's a manhwa or whether it's a manga, whether it's a webtoon style, whatever, or tapas or whatever. I was like, once I practice enough, I'll be able to make this comic or this splash art. I can work for a game studio. I can do all these things once I'm good enough. Once I'm perfect, once I've mastered my style, once I've drawn 1 million manga panels on from different artists, I can make the thing I want to make. I can literally do the reason why I started, you know? And it never comes. It never came for me. That was 4 years ago. I have not made a comic. I have characters, I have thoughts, I have written down scripts, I have done everything but draw the damn thing, you know? It's because I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't feel like my art will ever be good enough to actually achieve my artistic endeavors. And it feels terrible. It really does. Like every time I post something on my little channel, I think that man, I can't. I almost feel bad. I had to see people waste their eyeball space looking at this. You know, they had to register the fact that like I just drew this, and they have to look at it for like a split second before they realize that they hate it. You know, it feels awful. And I realized I don't think I'll ever be good enough to make the things I want to make. I don't think I'll ever be perfect enough. I don't think I'll ever be skilled enough, or I'll have enough prior experience to like really knock it out of the park. Everything I make is flawed. It's imperfect. It's not good enough. And I realized after probably like half less than half a year ago, I realized that I think that there is no such thing as perfection, and there are no good enough artists. There's just artists. There's just people. You know, I think that the act of creative expression is perfection. I think that every flaw you make is perfection. Like there is no quantifiable way to prove that you're a good artist. There isn't. You know, there's just people who continue pressing along and always learn new things, and there's people who stay stagnant for a long time doing the things that they feel comfortable with, and there's people who give up and don't try at all because they don't feel like they'll be good enough. And I I think that we're all confused because when you ask I see this all the time. Like, you know, if you join like a stream, if you look at a video from like a very large artist, they'll say, if you ask them like, oh, how do you become so good at art? And the first thing they'll say is, oh, I'm not that good at art. You know, I'm still working at X, Y, and Z. Like I wouldn't even say I'm an artist. Blah blah blah. Which is that's probably how they feel. Like I don't think they're lying at all. I think they also feel like they're not good enough. You know, although they're drawing Mona Lisas all day, or they're drawing a Starry Night. It's like, okay, well, they don't feel like they're good enough. How do you know when you're good enough? And the answer is there is no such thing. Sorry, my dog's barking. You're good. I have two puppies. They're not puppies, they're dogs. I call them puppies though. But yeah, there's no metric to gauge how good you are. You're just a person. Like we are all just people. Like there's no like how do you gauge a hero and a villain? It's like, well, it just depends on the context of like how you're framing them. You know, your Superman could be my Joker, you know. We don't know. It's all a construct to an extent, right? And of course you can say, well, whatever the law says, like, you know, that's what deems a good and bad person, but it's like I think it's more than that. I think that, you know, especially in the creative space. Sorry, my dog is yelling. Especially in the creative space, I think that we need to stop trying to compare ourselves to others and realize that the act of self-expression is gonna make you feel like a loser, and that's okay. It's gonna make you feel like you're never gonna be good enough. You know, you're never gonna feel like you nailed it. You know, you're not gonna make that one like magnum opus art piece and like you made it, you know, like that's doesn't it doesn't exist. And we're wasting our time trying to achieve that. Like just we need to just create and just communicate our thoughts and our feelings when we feel them, because art is a very human experience, and I think we lose sight of that very quickly often. And I think that if we share our thoughts more and our honest feelings about our own performance and our own skill sets, then I feel like we'll end up really coming together as a society, not even society, as just humanity, you know. Um, and I think that I would also like to make my artistic goals come true. You know, I want to see other people's come true. I want to see people who have given up come back to something they enjoy doing. I want to see people honestly acknowledge that this isn't easy, and they don't feel good enough. But that's okay because we don't need to be. Like there is no reason that you need to make perfect art. We don't want perfect art. Again, we've seen perfect art in the sense of like, well, AI can make the perfect technical perfect art. It's like we don't want that. No one's wanted that. And now we literally have in our face, and we realize, oh yeah, maybe like technical perfection isn't perfect art. You know, like it doesn't it's not real. You know, so I just want to say like if you're gonna fail a lot. Every art piece you make is gonna be a failure in a way. Like you can always nitpick. There's always gonna be a flaw. There's always gonna be something you could have done better, or you know, there's always gonna it might feel a little bit off or whatever. Like it's fine. You did something a lot of people won't do and will never do and will never understand what it takes to do. You did it. Even you making a stick man, you did something people won't do because they're scared. Because it's hard. And I'm so proud of you. Please keep creating. Please understand that like you are just you, and that is enough. You don't need to be good enough. You don't need to be perfect, and you will never be perfect. No one's gonna be perfect. You're just you, and that's why we like you. That's why we like the things you create. That's why your community will find you. Your niches will find you. That's how you achieve success, just by being you. If you don't want to make 15 layers to do sketches and then do like 18 layers for rendering, then don't. Use a single layer. Do it on a canvas. Do it on a sticky note if you like with a pen. You know, but if for you personally, making 20 layers to make an art piece, if that's your thing, that's fine. 500 layers even. That's also fine. As long as it's authentically you and you feel good doing it in a way where like it feels comfortable for you, right? And it's fine for your style to change. It's fine for your process to change. It's fine for you not to like your art for a period of time. It's okay. You're doing fine. And you will continue doing fine as long as you don't give up. You know, art regression and all that stuff like this, don't worry about it. We all had different paths. We all plateau. We all go up. We all go down. But it doesn't matter. There's still an end journey that we're going through, and it just requires us to walk it and to communicate and to work together. You know, you don't need to be a social artist. You don't need to be a recluse artist. You just need to be you, right? And we like you. So I just want to tell myself and tell you guys, like, hey, I really appreciate the stuff you put out, even if I never see it. The fact that you're sharing in the creative spirit means a lot to me, and it proves that, like, you know, humanity still is very fresh and new, and like we're learning, we're evolving, and like we're taking old skills and revamping it. Like, there's so much to discover, and we need every single person to authentically be themselves and try new things and explore new concepts and lean into their interests to fully understand what being a human is. And you guys are all doing it, and that's just so cool to me that like I get to live in a timeline where we can all share so easily and communicate so easily, you know. So yes, you aren't perfect and you won't ever be. You won't be good enough, and that's enough. That's fine. You know, don't worry about it. Just keep doing your best, and you will get to wherever you want to be. And we'll hopefully we'll see it happen too, and you'll be willing to share. If not, also fine. You know. So that's all. Um, thanks for listening, and that's all I got.